Capcom presents
Ready?
Marvel Vs Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes.
Nobody to dry your eyes. Drive me crazy, but I won't let you go. Excite me.
Tag battle fighting games. There's so many of them. From Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle to Street Fighter Cross Tekken. But when that type of fighting game is mentioned, there's one that usually comes to mind. Marvel Vs Capcom 2, A New Age of Heroes. What's up everyone? On this video we'll be going over the iconic crossover tag battle game from both Marvel Comics and Capcom. With a strong relationship within the years, both Marvel and Capcom brought out the big guns. The game originally came out in the arcades, but got ports for the Xbox, Sega Dreamcast, and PlayStation 2. There was also an HD port for the PS3 and Xbox 360. The version I have is the PlayStation 2 and the Sega Dreamcast, but the majority of the footage that will be used in this video will be from the HD port and the Dreamcast. Unlike the previous incarnations, MVC2 doesn't have 2 characters to tag, but 3 in your aim. Also, this game will not be using the CPS2, but in favor of using the Sega Naomi system. This is where you can see the 2D character sprites in the 3D rendered background. For home consoles, the Dreamcast will be the superior port, because the console itself modulates itself like an arcade. Like seriously, there's many games from Capcom that was exclusive to the Dreamcast because it was perfect to play. The music composition is completely different too. Instead of giving you specific character themes, the music is targeted for specific stages. I do miss the old CPS2 arcade sound, but grown to love the Marvel 2 soundtrack. This vibe gets me excited for a match. It's a fun sound to listen to. I love the art direction by FranBiz. His art has definitely evolved in this game. It gives it a comic book style. I love these still images of the characters. It's really amazing to look at. Since I brought up the art, I might as well bring up some of the covers for the game. On the PS2 and Xbox version, we got Ryu, Hulk, Spider-Man, and Zangief facing each other. And I think the cover is okay. The Dreamcast version has Guile and Psylocke side by side. The artwork for the HD port has a brand new art with a group shot by Joe V. Rains. And even though I like this artwork, I feel like it doesn't capture the actual spirit of MVC2. It could be because it came out years after the original console release, or it could be also the artwork uses current Ryu instead of Alpha Ryu. FranBiz got it right in the promo art. Nonetheless, it's still good art. Also, the promotion art for the HD port focuses on rival confrontations. There's a few with Ryu vs Wolverine, Zangief vs Hulk, Storm vs Jill, and many more. And I dig it, but I feel like it lacks the main characters, which is Ruby Heart, Amingo, and Sun Sun. While the original console covers are good, I wish it didn't use promo arts of all the characters. You see this art all over the game. I do like the Japanese Dreamcast cover. It's a great look to it. However, I feel like it's missing something important. And this is what I think it is. I personally feel like the covers should center more on Ruby Heart, since she is the main protagonist. It's just a minor nitpick, but I do like the Japanese Dreamcast and the HD cover since it has a good summary of the roster. In the console ports of MVC2, there's a base roster. In the arcade story mode, the story centers around these characters only, and it shows a lot, especially after you beat the arcade. You're greeted with still images from the cast of the base roster. Oh right, the cast. So it looks like the main characters are Ruby Heart and Cable. Ruby is a pirate seeking treasures of the world. She's interested in looking for the legendary Armor of Erosion. However, it looks like the armor has awakened a threat, which is the Abyss. Ruby alongside Cable are searching for the mightiest warriors to cease the crisis of the Abyss. I don't know if that's actually canon, but I always like making up stories when a fighting game is involved. You can unlock more characters with points you earn by playing the game. Yes, this was before DLC. You unlock more characters just by playing the game. It's one of the reasons why I love older games than modern games, to be honest. Alright, so let's go over the roster. The base roster is Ruby Heart, Cable, Amingo, Ryu, Captain America, Sun, Cyclops, Anacharis, Guile, Zangief, Rogue, Hulk, Dr. Doom, Sakura, Psylocke, Wolverine, Hideo Strider, Iceman, Jill Valentine, Spider-Man, Venom, Trombone, Hayato, and Meryl. The additional characters unlocked will be Cammy, Wolverine with the adamantium claws, Storm, Dan Hibiki, Akuma, Charlie Nash, Magneto, Mega Man, Ro, Surfbot, Blackheart, Colossus, Juggernaut, Captain Commando, Gambit, BB Hood, Dawson, Chun-Li, Morgan, Felicia, Omega Red, Jin, Ken, Sabretooth, M. Bison, Sentinel, Shuma Gorath, Silver Samurai, Spyro, Thanos, War Machine, and Iron Man. Holy crap, that's a lot of characters. That's a total of 56 characters in Marvel Vs Capcom 2. I hope I didn't forget anyone. You unlock these characters by using the points you earn when playing. This will be in the secret factor part in the console version. The more you play the game, your save will level up. The more you level up, the more stuff will be available to purchase with your points in-game. Things will get more expensive the more closer you are to getting everything. I should mention that. However, on the HD port, everything is available when you start the game, and it's basically like that to mimic the arcade. Alright, so let's talk about the stages in the game. I should mention that most of the stages have a variation version that you unlock in the console version. It will become available after unlocking a certain amount of characters and leveling up. We got the desert stage. This place looks like it takes place in the middle of nowhere. It's basically in the wilderness at sunset. There's plateaus in the back, followed by many cacti. I don't know if it's official, but I like to imagine this is the Mingo stage. The unlockable version of this stage, I could barely tell the difference. The huge difference that there is will be the brighter and more colorful appearance. There's more life to the stage compared to the dry original counterpart. However, in the HD port, you could see a difference better in the original stage. The stage will look very dry. The next stage is the carnival stage. The first thing you'll notice is the giant clown head in the back. It stands out a lot. There's many attractions in the stage like a ghost shop, ghost house, and a Ferris wheel. On the far right side you can see a merry-go-round, and it's quite a colorful stage. The unlockable version has a dull purple look. Instead of being very colorful, it has an abandoned look. Other than that, that's pretty much the difference. The cavern stage. This stage takes place in a cave. It has a fiendish looking skull in the back. There's an underground lake in front of a tombstone. This stage has a teal hue to it. You can see bats flying around. The water in the lake gives it a mystic aura. I should also mention that the eyes of the skull will eventually glow. The unlockable version of this stage won't have an underground lake, but instead lava. The stage will have a red tone. The industry building. This stage takes place in a walkway that's fenced. You can see large mechanical equipments like a crane, gears, pumps, and red lights moving into the stage. It also looks like there's two ships in the back, a wooden one and a battleship. This stage also has no unlockable version. The clock tower. This stage will have a cathedral look. It takes place during the daytime. You can see the giant mechanical clock in the back, along with the wooden gears and swinging bells. You can see some castles and churches in the back as well. The unlockable version has a winter look. The stage will be snowy in the setting, and as you can see, the whole stage is covered in snow. The river stage. The appearance of this stage will be an icy platform in a streaming river. It's really not much to describe on this stage. There's a broken ship on one side and an anchor on the other side. The unlockable version reminds me of Wolverine's stage in Marvel Superheroes, since both stages has a rapid stream in the back. In this unlockable version, there are no glaciers, but rocky mountains. I should also mention that there's barrels on a large raft, instead of a solid ice platform. And you know what? That's why it reminds me of Wolverine's stage. The bridge in that stage will collapse and become a raft. The swamp stage. The first thing that comes to mind in this stage is the broken art bridge in the middle of the stage. You can see many old dry trees. The stage has a misty look. There's mountains in the back and you can see a wrecked ship. The unlockable version has a bright pink hue. You can see the sun is shining bright in the day, the bridge looks brand new, and the setting has a Chinese theme to it. You can see fruits growing on the trees. Yeah, and you know what? I like to imagine this is Sansa's stage. The airship. This is no doubt Ruby's heart stage. This is her airship. The fight takes place on deck. You can see the stage making a transition from cloudy skies to a bright blue sky. In the back, you can see some stairs along with a mechanical device with a dragon head. You can see a giant propeller, which I'm assuming is what provides flight. The unlockable version will take place at night. The background has a starry night sky along with a full moon. The Abyss stage. This will be the final boss stage. You have 3 phases of not only the boss, but stages as well. Let's go over Abyss first. It's a forbidden weapon that looks like an orb. In each phase, Abyss will take a form. The Armor of Erosion, the Guardian, and the final form Abyss. The first phase will be taking place in the underground temple. You can see green fluid underneath the walkway. There's a bridge in the center with pillars all over. It also looks like the pillars are held by flames, I guess? Behind the bridge you can see a throne. In this phase, Abyss will use the Armor of Corrosion and Control. This armor will be charging at you and throwing spears. In the second phase, the temple will collapse and the armor is gone. However, the stage will now take place in the green pool. There's green clouds and a black hole in the background. Abyss will have a liquefied body summoned by green ooze. His attacks will be projectiles, as well as some bubbles that could capture you, leaving you wide open for an attack. In the third phase, you can see more of the temple sinking, and the stage went from green to red. Abyss will now be consumed by a giant red beast. It has a diving attack very similar to Venom. This will leave the Abyss core exposed for an attack. This could be a devastating battle, but once Abyss is defeated, Ruby Heart and the NBC crew can be seen on the ship. Ruby has the core in her hands, but later decides to throw it away to the sea since it's now useless. There are no specific character endings, but there's only one linear one after defeating Abyss. This stage can't be selected and is a boss only stage. There is one more stage to bring up, which is the training stage. You can see green grids on the wall and blue grids on the floor, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so that's Marvel vs Capcom 2, a tag battle with a well-known legacy. When people bring up tag battle games, this game is brought up to be one of the best ever made. Heck, I didn't even go over the tools to use in combat. The combos you can string is bonkers. The way you can start a combo and manually juggle your opponent in crazy sick ways in the air, oh my gosh. I think MVC2 is what laid the base for having a huge roster for better or worse. The reason I say that is because most fighting games back then had a decent size of a roster. If you release a game today with, I don't know, 10 characters, there's probably going to be low expectations on that game, unless the game plans to release DLC later down the line. We just been spoiled with a huge roster with MVC2. And that brings up another thing. This game has so many unlockables. You unlock colors, characters, and even stages for just playing the game. It's very sad to see also that this is Ruby Heart, Sun, and Amigo's debut, but it's the last time they're playable on an MVC game. Especially since Ruby is the main character. And that's something that is overlooked. If you look at any promotion of Marvel vs Capcom 2, she's never centered in the covers or promos, and it's really a shame. The music in Marvel 2 is definitely a complete different direction, but I've grown to love it. And just like the music, the same goes with the art. I just love the style that Bengus provides for Marvel 2. I swear he changes art styles between games, but you could sometimes know it's him providing the artwork. But in this game, I love the cross-hatching sketch look in the art. It looks very good. The print of this game could be somewhat rare. Due to licenses, Marvel vs Capcom games could be quite pricey. Even the HD port that came out, it was on the digital store for a limited time for the PS3 and Xbox 360. My advice is that if Marvel and Capcom renews a port, hop on it because you don't know how long that game is going to last, physically or digitally. I hope you guys enjoyed this overview of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. At the time of this video being made, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 turns 20 years old. What a great time to be a fan. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I don't know what series I'm going to be going over next. Maybe Capcom vs. SNK, maybe. Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, maybe. Or maybe Rival Schools or Power Stone. Who knows? Anyways, feel free to follow me on Twitch. I stream often and talk about video games over there. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like and comment on your thoughts on Marvel vs. Capcom 2. If you like talking about old retro fighting games, make sure to subscribe. I have various fighting game content on this channel. All these actions really help out the channel. Anyways, I am out. Peace.